Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/PettyRevenge. In today's episode, neighbor dented side of my car because they parked too close and didn't leave information or a note. I corrected their behavior. Use my email, lose your Kohl's cash. If you steal my lunch, beware of the danger when you mess with me. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Neighbor dented side of my car because they parked too close and didn't leave information or a note. I corrected their behavior. This is a great life hack I discovered. My apartment is an older place with assigned parking spaces. 6 months ago, a new tenant moved in and was assigned a spot next to mine. Almost every time I got home and pulled into my parking spot, I noticed they were over the parking line into my spot or on top of the line, giving me very little room to park. One night I parked and their car wasn't there. The next morning I go to my car and see them parked over the line and a dent in the side of my car. I immediately knew it was then as I measured the trajectory of their door to my car and the paint matched. Clearly their door hit my car. No note was left, and when I called my property management, they said unfortunately they don't have cameras, so I can't prove it was them aside from the paint. In my head I thought, fine, want to ruin my car up, have fun with all the dents I leave on yours. Every day, I came home and saw them over the line or on it. I dented their car with my door. I left many dents. They since never parked on the lines or over it ever again. He got his karma. This approach really put a dent in his bad behavior. Should have used a hammer to save your car door. It's the privilege of old cars. My mom got bumped on her bumper with it, our old clunker. Guy was so apologetic, but my mom said, listen, I can't even tell which dent you caused. Don't worry about it. They're assigned spaces. It was obviously them since it is their assigned space, right? Not sure if you meant to add /s or if you're asking genuinely. I did the same thing. During my divorce, I moved in with my mom at her apartment. The next door neighbor always parked super close to her car and dinged it all the time. Tried to play it off like, well, my kids opened the door, what can you do /shrug, so I started parking in the visitor space next to them and dinged the shit out of their van and left paint streaks from it which strangely did not match the color of my car. Fill the gap between the door and body on that side with expanding foam, and they'll have a very difficult time hitting your car again. It takes very little effort to be a decent human and park in your spot properly. I am sorry your crap neighbor had to learn the hard way, but I am glad that you had the joy of teaching him. Looks like they learned the perks of being a considerate neighbor. I parked, I was dented, I identified the culprit, it was evidently a resident. I put identical dents in their vehicle, I was quite ardent about it. Incidentally, they learned their lesson and became prudent about parking correctly. Use my email, lose your Kohl's cash. I got a Gmail account about 20 years ago when it first came out. I was able to snag a simple email, first initial last name, think Smith at Gmail. For the last several years, I have been getting all kinds of spam and legitimate emails from someone with my first initial and last name. Some of these emails seem pretty important, for instance, hotel reservations and train tickets have both been sent to my email. In the past, I have tried to contact her with the phone number I find with the emails and asked her to stop using my emails. She brushes it off every time, basically telling me to F off. Apparently she has just started shopping at Kohl's because I've been getting all of her rewards email. Since she decided she isn't going to stop using my email, I used her $50 in Kohl's cash she sent to my email a couple weeks ago, and just used another $20 today. As far as I'm concerned, she's aware that she's using my email, therefore she's gifting me her Kohl's cash. Thanks for the new belt and jeans, Jessica. Keep 'em coming. Start canceling her reservations. This will solve your problem quite quickly. I legit did that when some random person started using my email address for important things. I cancelled her dentist appointments, doctor's appointments, and a hotel reservation before they fixed it. Why someone would do that? It's not like they could access it. Yes, I checked the logins and changed my password to be safe. I have a phone number nemesis. He uses my cell number all over the place, so I get all the calls for his car's extended warranty, and so on. One day, I tried my number at a chain pet store because there was a discount and found that I already had an account. I asked if I could update my info, and the poor teenage clerk says sure, then proceeded to tell me what info they had. I felt like some kind of master hacker. I got enough info from her that I was able to look up his actual addresses and phone numbers. Figured out a whole lot of other junk calls and mail I get was actually for him as well. Updated his info on all future inquiries, including some that were probably collections. Anyone who calls here for that name, I am now super helpful. A family friend owned a funeral home in his family for 100 years, and a new pizza chain came into town with a phone number very close to the funeral home's number. One day at a Chamber of Commerce meeting, he mentioned it to Pizza Guy and said he got a couple calls from customers wanting pizza. The pizza guy told him to get another number. From then on, he took the orders whenever anyone called. This happened daily. We had a local pizza's place with a similar number, so we pretended to be a funeral parlor and had a whole opening and funny but inappropriate intro. My family are a bunch of weirdos. If they are in your email, sent direct to your address, it's your cash. I did the same trick back when Gmail first came online and snagged one with my real name in. I had a medical doctor do this back in the AOL days. I was getting emails from his patients with sensitive info. Called his office and his office manager told me to change mine. I had to call the licensing board to get it resolved. I'd imagine you could have saved yourself the trouble had you informed them that you were going to start telling everyone Dr. So-and-so died and is no longer in practice. I had a guy using my email address and was setting up on dating sites. So logged into his account, changed his profile to man looking for men. He soon stopped using my email. If you steal my lunch, beware of the danger when you mess with me. Several years ago, I worked at a place and I would bring with me my special experience homemade meals for lunch. Someone started stealing my lunches and I suspected a certain person, and that person had a nut allergy. So one day I packed a meal containing walnuts, and next thing I know, one of my coworkers had a swollen face, had trouble breathing, and needed to be rushed to the hospital. Not my fault you had allergies and still decide to steal other people's lunches. Sorry, I simply had a craving for walnuts that day. Stealing lunches with a bad allergy is just playing with fire. It's like dietary roulette. I'm gonna shove random things in my craw and see what happens. I have severe nut allergies, and I totally agree. Steal someone's food, and you deserve what you get. It's bad enough that my mother-in-law doesn't believe in allergies, so I stopped eating anything she cooked. Did you go ask them the next day if they enjoyed these nuts? I prefer just kicking the heat on my lunch up a few notches. I can eat something that makes my nose run for lunch fine, but if I do that for supper, I'll be up at 2 a.m. with reflux. So I do that for my lunches. I have yet to see someone steal a hot meal from me twice. First time food goes missing, it could be an accident or medical issue. Second time it goes missing, I make some really tasty meals with habanero and Scotch bonnet. If someone steals that and hadn't learned theory lesson, the next meals I either use my own chili powder or chili oil. How many people have stolen your lunches so far? Seems like loads of people have tried your cooking at least once. What kind of environment are you in at work? I would have acted confused, like, I heard you ate nuts and had an allergic reaction, but why would you eat nuts if you're deathly allergic? I don't understand, because then other people would start to put pieces together that they were taking other people's foods, which is totally stupid if you have allergies, especially dangerous, life-threatening ones. I had a dorm mate in college who was tired of someone drinking all his fruit juices out of the fridge. Not the whole thing, just enough that he noticed the levels were going down. So one day he took a bottle of apple juice that had gone down to a certain level. He was very scientific about this. He marked the level with masking tape and mixed in exactly the same amount of his own urine to bring it back up to that level, took the tape off, shook it so it would blend, and put it back in the fridge. The next day, the level had gone down a few inches. He was cackling about that until we graduated. I put laxatives in some of my foods because I have digestive issues. If someone tried to steal food, they'd likely have regrets. It would be even more regretful because I share my untampered food a lot. LOL, but if you're using it for yourself for health reasons, won't that just ensure they have a really gentle and pleasant poop later? Worked with a guy that had his pizza eaten several times, so he pissed on it and put in work frig. Then when it was gone, he told the guy that he thought was doing it what he did. Eater cried to HR, they said, so you stole his food? Maybe you shouldn't take others' food. Nothing was done about it, justice served. This dude was a dirty dude. Honestly think he rubbed one out on it too. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.